Shogun is originally a book written by James Clavell in 1975, and it's being adapted now onto the big screen, or since this is a streaming service, living room stream, wherever you want to watch. It's a story about globalization and cultures meeting each other in the 17th century, religion, trade, and how all these things impact each other, and also different races and different countries trying to claim territory, and how that all clashes together in this big power struggle. Today we are going to be reviewing the first 3 episodes. This show ended up actually being very interesting, and just the first 3 episodes alone are very entertaining. So I wanted to do a review of these first 3, and then at the end of the season, it's supposed to be 10 episodes. So at the end of the season, I'm going to do an overall review of the entire first season. So make sure you subscribe if you want to see that and you don't miss that video. I'm going to be doing other reviews too on other movies and shows. I'm going to continue to make videos like these because I really enjoy them. So let's talk about Shogun. For my knowledge, this has been adapted very faithfully, and they even went through a lot of hoops and things to get this to be adapted as best as possible. There's a lot of effort that's went into this production. I suggest when you watch it, you watch the behind the scenes and the podcast episodes. They go into depth and they really explain the amount of work and effort that went into this show. The writing room, you can do nothing but praise the writing room. These people really cared about this project, and it really shows. They even said when writing the script, they had to go through like 9 steps of translation from English to Japanese during the 17th century to make sure they had them speaking the most proper form of Japanese, making sure things were spoken exactly how they were back then. And I really wanted to highlight that because it really shines in the dialogue scenes. There was a lot of love and care that went into it, and it makes the dialogue so great, especially with the language barrier, when characters that speak different languages are struggling to talk to each other. And the actors do a really good job portraying that in the show, because when you're trying to actually understand somebody and what they're saying, you use gestures and like movements, to try to gauge the interaction. You're trying to interact with them. The only way to do it is through their facial expressions, their movements. So the actors do a really good job in portraying how characters find nonverbal common ground and understanding. It makes for really good dialogue scenes, and sometimes even funny. They even do a great job with historical accuracy. Even though this is a fictional story, they use historical figures. For example, Blackthorn is based on William Adams, the first Englishman to ever reach Japan. And based on the little I've seen about him, they do a pretty good job portraying him. There's not much action in the show, which is why I really like to focus on the dialogue. It kind of reminds me of Game of Thrones. The world building is so good, so well. It keeps your attention the entire time, and you learn about this world in Japan and the stakes and the dedication that everyone has to their specific clan or culture. And it really is. They really took the production of this really seriously. They even had like the gesture trainers and everybody that teaches them how to move properly when bowing and walking, and it's so in depth. It's crazy. It blew my mind, the amount of effort that went into this. And it's even more impressive because Hironiko Sanada, I believe I'm saying his name right, he was in John Wick. He plays Toranaga. I believe I'm saying that right too. It's a lot of characters to remember in the show, so forgive me if I'm saying their names wrong. But he also is a producer on this show, and they said that he was really making sure everybody was doing everything correctly because he thought it was very important to acknowledge these things and pay attention to them because they were really important during the time, so he must portray that in the show. The sets, the direction, the CGI, everything is shot perfectly. And I'm surprised. I know they don't use a lot of CGI in here, but when they do, it's really, really impressive. Most shows don't seem like they have a really good CGI budget, and I'm glad they went all in on that. The sets, they clearly went all in on because, wow, it looks amazing. All of the atmospheres and scenes are just set up so perfectly. It seems like it fits the time so well. You can really tell the amount of effort that went into making this. Even the clothing, there's different they have to come up with a lot of different clothing for every different scene, and that stuff can take, I heard it takes a couple hours to get some of those costumes on. and it's just amazing to me, and it really shows through the screen. I really like the chemistry with Blackthorn and Yabushige. Blackthorn is played by I just had to make sure I'm saying his name right. Cosmo Jarvis. I am so sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I know his first name is Cosmo, but I had to stop and make sure I was saying that right. And Yobushige is played by Tadanobu Asano. Once again, I apologize if I'm saying it wrong, but their chemistry on screen is so good. They make for some really funny moments, but also serious moments. And it's funny because they can go from being disrespectful to each other to having a common ground and making fun of each other and having respect for each other, which is, I would think, is very hard to show that or portray it without dialogue, really, without them knowing how to speak to each other. And I'm telling you that when you go watch the show, I'd even suggest watching it in Japanese first. It sounds really good in Japanese. I watched the first episode in Japanese, and then I went back and then just watched the rest of it in English dub. And I believe a lot of the voice actors are the same actors just speaking English, because their voices sound exactly alike. That's also very impressive if that's true. And I got to give credit where credit is due. Jerry London did a great job directing this. The producers, everybody deserves praise for this. So far, the first 3 episodes are a 10 out of 10. I have no problems with this. You can clearly see they try to avoid any tropes about the stranger's journey. You know, the stranger coming to a new land, and it really shows that they were really serious in the writing room. And I really think Hollywood can really learn from these Japanese shows and movies coming out. Godzilla was the last great example. The amount of writing. I know that this was American writers, but still, something's going on here. Hopefully, the movie industry is changing and going back to making better movies and shows. But yeah, that's my review of Shogun, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you liked it and a dislike if you didn't. Peace out.